Hey there, everyone. I'm Sonya Marrone, joined by my lovely co-host, Jen Cameron, and welcome to our passion project, Pseudo Side Hustle, where we ask the burning questions from some of the most incredible humans across the business security and analytics space. Good morning, Jen. I know that you and I are both excited about today's guest.
Absolutely. We are joined by Vic Jacinto from IKEA. Sonia and I have been talking about this interview for weeks. We're very, very excited to have him on. Welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on. Really, I love talking about the industry. I love to learn. So thank you.
Yeah, and you're also going to be speaking at NRF Protect coming up. So I can't wait to see you featured there. But we'd love to start out just hearing a little bit about your journey, a little bit about your background.
Sure. Gosh, like many other people, I fell into the retail industry. It was supposed to be temporary while I was finishing school and pursuing a career in other fields and figuring out what I wanted to do. I started working retail at like a drugstore as a stock clerk, and then a shoe store as a salesperson. And while I was going to school, I landed a job at a clothing retailer working in loss prevention. And I knew nothing, and this was like a whole new world for me. Similar to what I was pursuing as far as kind of what I wanted to do, but it was brand new challenges, new skills, new unknown problems, all kinds of successes and failures, and I fell in love with it. So I stayed and ended up making a career out of it on accident. I really started to progress and into management and get promoted in different leadership roles, and eventually I ended up at IKEA. So where I found an entirely new set of challenges and skills that I was not good at in a working warehouse with racking and forklifts and pallets and different safety aspects, but I still fell in love with that as well. So I spent a few years at one of our stores before taking on a role in the corporate office in my current role, which is leading the safety and security program.
At NRF Protect, you'll be speaking on the topic, Change is Here, Is Your LP Team Ready? With Anthony Gambino from the jeweler and retailer Kendra Scott. So why do you think this particular topic was important to cover?
Yeah, so change, right? Such a broad topic. And Anthony at Kendra Scott, he's a passionate leader. He asked me to join him to speak. And I thought, wow, this is such a big topic. How are we going to bring this down? Because there's so many aspects of change. And retail in itself is synonymous with change, right? And keeping up with whatever the customer wants. So the challenges we're seeing in loss prevention or asset protection or security, they are unique, right? Other retailers and other verticals even they're seeing the same things we're seeing. But how do we capture that in the loss prevention industry? It's finding talent, it's developing and retaining that talent in a good way. Different threats that are coming, whether that's physical threats or virtual or a lot of geopolitical threats that are occurring now, and social influence. So how do we navigate that in retail loss prevention? How do we innovate to solve those problems? It's so interesting to me because we are mostly reactive. I love operating in the creative and trying to figure out, okay, what can we implement, whether it's a policy or a procedure or technology to help us to save costs, to help the frontline employees that are in our units, whether it's a distribution center or a store, customer meeting point, as we call them, to help them solve some of their problems. And so I'm really looking forward to making it more of a collaborative discussion rather than Andy and I just talking to the group. I really want to talk with the people who are in attendance because I don't have any secret solutions. I don't think I'm going to say anything earth-shattering. I just want the dialogue and the discussion.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it. And it's kind of funny. My next question is about something we were talking about in the pre-interview, and about kind of this whole stereotype of fraud and loss prevention and security being kind of the lone wolf in the operation and kind of sticking to themselves. But what do you think those departments can really do to make them get a seat at the table for kind of these strategic conversations that organization is making?
Yeah, you make a good point, right? This kind of lone wolf, it's many times seen as an operational cost to the organization, one that isn't understood and valued. And that's where we business professionals and subject matter experts and people with passion need to sell what we do and help people understand what we do. And the old school, literally, it was a closed door mentality. Like if you closed the door and you were just off on your own, whether you were looking at cameras or investigating or looking at paperwork, but that's really by the wayside now. So that the effort to have a seat at the table and really influence, it has to start early on, right? Before decisions are even made or talked about. My function, whatever you're calling it in your specific retail company, has to cultivate the relationships with all the stakeholders well ahead of time so that we're not catching up. We have the relationships ahead of time. We're understanding, hopefully, in that relationship building, what are the challenges that particular stakeholder is facing. So we understand not only their daily challenges, but then how does that translate into safety or security challenges, or what risks and gaps they have that we have to solve, whether we are aware of them or not. So then we have to show how we can bring value to their business and speak their language. And I'll touch on that at the NRF discussion for sure, and hopefully it just comes up naturally. But I really think it's about relationship building and having the continual dialogue, even when there's no problem, so that when a problem arises, the relationship is already there and the communication channels are already built. Difficult to do.
So what can security professionals kind of going into the next year, what can they expect to see?
The unexpected. We talk about this all the time within IKEA in our department meetings. Like, what is going to be the next, major situation in the country or the world or a particular region of the country? So I think it's change, more change, even more change. But how can we do more of this? First of all, how can we really collaborate with our peers in the industry and to solve these problems that we're all seeing, right? We're all seeing these problems, whether it's technological solutions, AI is big. That's all really fun, sexy stuff that we actually really need now, right? There's a guy on my team that talks about robots, and it's we're talking about robots all the time now. But then how do we also maintain the human element? Because as much as retail needs to change as well to meet the customer, we still have to have someone there to meet the customer. So I think it's really staying on our toes and not being back on our heels and being ready for what's coming next. So whether that's attitude, technology, how we recruit and retain people, how we train, everything.
Before we let you go, what is one hot topic that you can't stop talking to your colleagues or friends about?
I got asked this the other week, and I went into a wormhole about it. I probably nerded out on my friend, but he asked about organized retail crime. And I'm not an expert. It's not my forte. I don't spend a lot of time in organized retail crime. We're not set up as a loss prevention department that's really focused heavily on organized retail crime, but we have to learn about it because then we're eliminating some of our blind spots. We're able to support the rest of the industry. It's such a generic term that when you say organized retail crime, that's just like saying that means the mafia, right? Most people don't understand it, including safety and security professionals. We're still learning. There is a document that was released in the last few days that really helps investigate financial crimes. It's really designed to help educate. It's an amazing document, and the financial industry was completely blind and still are. They're still learning. They didn't know anything about organized retail crime. They have no idea what that means for in banking and transactions. So they're on this slow journey, but it's not just the smash and grabs that we're seeing, right? The things that are sensationalized on media and the internet or group thefts, it's theft of merchandise. It's figuring out who's stealing, how they're all connected, where are they reselling, who are their fences, is it online marketplaces, is it brick and mortar resellers, is it swap meets, private sellers out of their homes operating on some of the different online marketplaces. Where is that money going and what is it funding? Because it's nefarious activity. It's human trafficking. It's posting ads to get more illegal activity. It's drugs. It's criminal enterprises. It's everything. Logistics chains to move all these stolen goods. So it's massive. It's really it's really going to take a partnership between retail, businesses, trade associations like NRF and RELA, law enforcement, financial institutions, attorney general offices. It goes on and on. It's really going to take a lot of movement, and including, changing how our criminal justice system is set up for laws regarding some of the activity or even punishment. So there's a ton to do, and I think that's just going to be one of the red threads that we continually hear about. So it's something that it comes up a lot in my circles, and I think it's going to be definitely discussed at NRF Protect as well.
Yeah, no, Vic, that was a great answer. And I agree with you. RSC is like a continuous conversation and topic that we also, are in conversations with folks like you in the loss prevention world. So thank you for sharing that hot topic with us. And thank you again for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of retail and security. That's all for today's episode. See you next time on YBI with your hosts, Jen Cameron and Sonya Marrone. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.